Welcome to the Rising Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Mark J. Silverman. I do not like receiving feedback one little bit. Of course, when someone says, "Would you like a little feedback?" I cringe inside, and outwardly I say, "Of course I'd love some feedback. I'd welcome it because I'm a coach. I want to improve. I'm a self-help junkie. I want to get better at things. So please tell me where I screwed up, where I'm not very good, and all the things that I already tell myself." Uh, I'm really good at giving feedback. I do 360s and give feedback. I solicit feedback. I give feedback. I'm really good at metabolizing it and helping people understand it. But getting feedback from myself, it's just not comfortable. And I do welcome it. I do ask for it. I do want for it, and I do act on it. But it doesn't feel good. So when I'm giving feedback in 360s or to my clients or anybody for that matter, I know that no matter how eager they are, that it stings inside. We criticize ourselves way more than anybody else could criticize us. In fact, I know one of my tools, one of my coping mechanisms was to criticize myself faster than anybody else could criticize me, so that I already beat myself up enough so that when their criticism or their feedback came, it didn't hurt as much. I already know that. I already know that I suck. So that's an evolution I've gone through. So we've talked a lot on this podcast about giving feedback, how to give good feedback, why it's so important to give good feedback. And we've touched on receiving feedback. And I just finished a big round of 360s for a bunch of people, and all of them were just outstanding people. The feedback was excellent. And there was some room for growth. There were areas of growth. And each one of these people are so eager to be better. They're so critical of themselves that I knew that even though they showed up for the call with their superiors, welcoming the feedback, I saw it in their eyes. They're just like, all right, hit me with it. And no matter how good the 360 was, it was those couple of areas where it's, hey, you want to get to the next level. This is where you need to grow. That stung. So I want to talk about how to receive feedback in the most productive way. No matter what's going on in your body, you need to breathe through it. You need to just allow it to feel the way, however it feels. And it's going to feel either in your stomach or in your chest. You're going to feel it behind your, in your scalp when you're sweating. That's okay to feel all those things. That doesn't mean you don't want the feedback. It just means that your body, your lizard brain is threatened. So don't worry about how you feel when it's happening. Just breathe through it. And the best advice or best example of this I saw was when I was selling to a financial institution, and we were in the C-suite, and all the C-level people were in the room, and the CTO was a former military guy. And whenever he asked a question or wanted to know something in the meeting, he would ask the question, someone would give him that information, and he would just say thank you and write his notes. Now, that's not about feedback, but that's how he showed up in the meeting. Is every time someone gave him some piece of information, he just said thank you. And I clocked that and took that with me everywhere I went, and I take that into the feedback conversation. So when someone's giving you feedback, the best thing you can do is say thank you. Just say thank you. If you, again, and if you're nervous, if you feel defensive, because of course what comes up is the circumstances and why this is that way and who to blame and how you're not at that bad or to criticize you. All this stuff comes up. Don't worry about it. Just say thank you. It's a complete sentence. Then you're able to breathe. Maybe take a note, because you're going to want to address all this feedback. You want to get clarification on the feedback later. And it could be later, meaning a minute later when you've composed yourself, or it could be later in another meeting. So it all depends on how you're showing up in that moment. And if you have the wherewithal to breathe through it and then ask a follow-up question, that's great. So the first thing is thank you. Second is, okay, so what I hear you saying, so active listening. So say the feedback is, I am too verbose in my emails and on Slack. Can you give me an example of that? That would be great because I would understand better what I could do, and then I can look at how I can improve that. So thank you. Can you give me an example? Uh, and don't forget to do the active listening. Again, it's hard to remember in the moment to do all that, so you can always go back. So when you're getting that feedback, the other thing to understand is people who are giving you feedback, unless they're just jerks who are constantly criticizing, but most people aren't. If they're giving you feedback, it means you're valuable. It means you're worthwhile. People don't give people who aren't worthwhile the time of day. If they're not trustworthy with feedback, I know if I know people who are not trustworthy with feedback, I don't give it to them. I just don't bother. I have, people call me all the time, and I see what's going on with them, and I could give them some very helpful, critical feedback. And I don't, because I just don't trust that it's going to be welcomed or used in any way, shape, or form. So I just say, oh, yeah, that must be tough for you, or that sounds like a tough situation, and I leave it alone. So if someone's giving you feedback, it totally means that you're worth giving the feedback. Here's how I know: coaching someone who is really having trouble with with the people who are running the company, and he's a problem child, and the feedback is harsh, 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 harsh. And here's what I know: even though the feedback was super harsh, even though I know that there's um, a lot of animosity there, I know that the only reason they did that was if he can improve, they want him to improve. He's valuable enough. If he can't improve, that's a whole different story. But if he can, if there's a chance that this honest feedback will help him improve, they want to give it to him. So if someone's giving you feedback, consider yourself valued. Consider yourself worth the time and energy for someone, because again, unless they're a critical person and that's part of their personality is criticizing, it's really hard for people to muster the courage to give you straightforward feedback. That's why Kim Scott wrote Radical Candor, because it's very hard for people to show up that way. So if they're giving that energy, that means you're worthwhile. So that means show up, listen, thank you, active listening, ask for clarifications, and then ask for support on how to change. So those are the things I'm thinking about with feedback. Now, the thing to do is to go back with the feedback and share it with someone you trust, someone who has your back, someone who knows your worth, someone who can tell you the truth. You don't want someone who says, uh, oh, don't worry about that. That's just not true. I know that happened with me with one person who I went back to their boss with the feedback from the 360, and that boss just didn't want to hear it. They were my client's worst enemy because they were giving my client the wrong feedback. This person had never heard this feedback, so they didn't have a chance to grow. So go back, talk to someone who can help you see, again, what's real, because every piece of feedback is also a piece of projection. So you want to tease out what's yours, what's not yours, what's something worth working on, what's something not worth working on. Because again, that you can only work on one, two, or three things at a time. So pick out the low hanging fruit that's going to make the biggest bang for the buck, and get the resources, get the support, and start working on that. You'll be surprised how much you can get done in 6 months or a year just focusing on one habit, one behavior, one skill at a time. Getting feedback is not easy. And again, I admit it, I don't like it, but it's invaluable and it'll change your life. So thank you, active listening, clarification, and then go do something about it. I love you a ton. Have a great rest of the day.